Have you ever noticed how an aha moment never shows up when you demand it? You're staring at the problem, squinting at it, forcing it, nothing. Then you walk away. You take a shower. You're driving, you're half awake, and suddenly, bam, there it is. The answer doesn't feel created, it feels revealed. And that's the strange thing about insight. It doesn't feel like thinking. It feels like remembering something you didn't know you knew. For a long time, we treated these moments like magic, a gift, a fluke, a lightning strike of genius. But neuroscience tells a very different story. Because that flash of clarity, it's not random. It's the final note in a neural symphony that's been quietly playing the whole time. Let's start with the feeling itself. An aha moment has a signature emotional punch. There's a surprise, relief, even a little joy. Your brain literally rewards you for it. Dopamine spikes, reinforcing the discovery. But by the time you feel the insight, the real work is already over. The insight didn't arrive then, it finished then. So the question is, what was your brain doing before you became aware of it? To answer that, we need to separate two very different ways of thinking. Analytical problem solving is slow, deliberate, step by step. Insightful problem solving is sudden, holistic, and feels effortless. One feels like climbing a ladder, and the other feels like the lights turning on. And they don't use the brain in the same way. When researchers put people in MRI scanners and wait for insight moments to happen, something fascinating shows up. Right before an aha moment, there's increased activity, not in the areas associated with logic and calculation, but in regions tied to pattern detection and integration. One key player is the anterior superior temporal gyrus, especially in the right hemisphere. This region is incredible at connecting distant ideas, things that don't obviously belong together. It's not asking what's the next step, it's asking what's the hidden pattern here. At the same time, another region lights up, the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. Think of the ACC as your brain's conflict detector. It notices when your current strategy isn't working, when reality doesn't quite fit your assumptions, and instead of doubling down, it quietly signals, try something different. Then come the fireworks. Milliseconds before you consciously experience the insight, the brain produces a burst of gamma band oscillations, high-frequency brain waves associated with synchronized firing across distant neural networks. This is the moment separate ideas snap together. Memories, concepts, half-formed thoughts all suddenly align. The insight doesn't build, it coheres. So what's wild is that confusion isn't a failure state, it's a necessary one. When you're stuck, your brain doesn't stop working, it changes how it works. This is where the incubation phase comes in. When you step away from a problem, the brain's default mode network, the system active during mind wandering and rest, takes over. This network doesn't care about linear logic. It explores, it recombines, it runs simulations behind the scenes. That's why insights show up in the shower, or right before sleep, or during a walk. You stopped forcing the answer, and your brain finally had room to reorganize the information. The ACC, still monitoring in the background, senses when a new configuration resolves the internal conflict, and when it does, the solution bursts into consciousness all at once, not because it was created suddenly, but because it crossed a threshold. So this explains something deeply counterintuitive. Trying harder often makes insight less likely. Pressure narrows attention. Insight requires looseness. Your brain needs space to break and rebuild patterns, not march forward rigidly. This is why play matters, why curiosity matters, why sleep matters, and why the most productive thing you can sometimes do is stop trying to be productive. You can't command an aha moment, but you can create the conditions that invite it. Divergent thinking helps. Let your mind roam across ideas instead of drilling straight down. Rest helps. Sleep isn't passive. It's when memory networks reorganize themselves. Mindfulness helps. Not the kind that forces calm, but the kind that notices unexpected connections without dismissing them. Insight lives in openness. The brain doesn't reward certainty, it rewards re-seeing. Interestingly, modern AI systems are beginning to echo parts of this process, finding non-obvious connections across massive data sets. But here's what AI doesn't have: that felt sense of meaning, the emotional resonance, the moment where understanding changes who you are. Human insight doesn't just solve problems, it restructures identity, and that may be the most mysterious part of all. Even with all we've learned, the aha moment still holds its magic because it reminds us of something. Your brain is working on your behalf, quietly, creatively, patiently, even when you think you're stuck. Confusion isn't the absence of intelligence, it's the precondition for transformation. And every time clarity arrives out of nowhere, it's proof that your mind is far deeper and far more ingenious than it feels from the inside. So when was your last real aha moment? Did it hit while you were trying or after you gave up? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, my little cherubs, Mima's always rooting for you.